Welcome back, everybody, to the GGBL. Got a pretty quick video here for you guys today. Took about a week off from the live stream from the All-Star festivities, and we simulated up until a good day to where we could get everybody signed up as far as draft picks go, right? After all of this is said and done, August 1st, I'm going to actually show you how each team did, because again, not everybody took a custom player. So we just kind of like to get to know some of those players, some of those CPU guys that might be generational guys or just might not ever do anything inside the league. However, for today's video, we're going to be talking about trades. And not every single team across the league is going to be making a trade. You guys know me, I like to be fair in a lot of the analysis that I do for my squads. These are all my teams. These are all my babies. So I want to see them all do well. I'm not going to look to screw anybody. But not everybody made a deal. And I can tell you that the LA Knights, they did not make a deal. They're 10 games above 500, and just really looking at their roster, just didn't really seem like they needed a whole lot to make a push for the postseason. But I know the Gauchos did, the Emeralds did, the Mighty Beavers are selling some pieces. So let's just talk about, those are just examples, but let's just go ahead and talk about each trade and what each team has given up. So for the first trade, we're actually going to be looking at this guy right here, Jackie Schreiber. 45 strikeouts, 33 walks, 395, 116. He's a 28-77 C potential player, as well as this guy, Bobby Watts. Really good contact hitter, decent fielder. He's got 11 bombs, 51 ribbies, 304. He's 27-78 C as well. Where are they going? Well, they're going to head out here to Colorado because Colorado needs a little bit more help on offense in their outfield. Yeah, they got Joey Ruffin with 81B. He's a very, very good fielder. Decent hitter. Could do a little bit better, but he's got a lot of stolen bases. Right fielder, they could do a little bit better right there too. I think that this is a good fit for Bobby Watts. He could be a nice player for them. Plus, of course, they always need some pitching. They definitely need some pitching. So Jackie Schreiber coming over from Philadelphia could fit right in for Colorado. However, what are they giving up? What are they giving up? They are going to give up a prospect, catcher, 22-71B, Giovanni Carpenter. Doesn't have a ton of at-bats down at the AAA level. A lot of that's actually being taken away by Troy Rahav. But Giovanni Carpenter not getting a lot of time over the 26-year-old. This might be a good opportunity for him to head on out to Philadelphia to start playing a little bit more. And then we're also going to go after Beyonest Coy. 17 home runs, 280, 47 ribs. Definitely a DH type of player. He has no speed. He's not a good fielder at all. Doesn't have any other positional eligibility. He's a designated hitter for Philadelphia. So those two guys going to Philly, and you can kind of see how Philadelphia, it looks like they might need another big bat inside that lineup eventually, whenever that Coy becomes a really good player. Yeah, they just need another big offensive piece, and I think that that's going to help them out. Catching-wise, I don't think that Giovanni Carpenter is going to beat out a Rubio Moya. I think Moya is going to be the guy in the future. But you can see kind of they don't really have a lot going on as far as the catching depth goes. They got a C here with TQ Robinson. Castro is a 73C. He's 30 years old. So I think it's a good trade for both teams, kind of a tit-for-tat trade, but it helps them in the areas, it helps both teams in the areas that they need right now. Now to Pittsburgh. What about Pittsburgh? They are going to give up on Franny Hyacinthe. I've never figured out how to pronounce this, but he's 32 years old. Pittsburgh is in a position where they're in a mode where they got to look towards the future, right? So selling off a 32-year-old shortstop, he can't even really play shortstop because he throws left-handed. So he's a designated hitter for them at this point. He's not even giving them any defense whatsoever. So he's being shipped out to San Diego. And San Diego, they just need another big bat, I think. Because I look at their roster, they've got guys like Cabrera who can hit. Carson Willard's been decent. Reyes, Hoffman, Otto. They just need another big bat. Jeremy Floyd's a good contact hitter. Danny Riddle's about their best all-around hitter. They could seek to lose this guy, Will Hammond, when Hyacinthe comes over here. So again, he's not going to be shortstop. He's going to be a designated hitter, and I think that this is a good addition for them. But what is Pittsburgh acquiring? What are they getting back? Well, they're going to get this guy here, Martin Tate. Guy's got 66 and a third innings pitched. He's 26 years old, 77B. You kind of got to give up something to get something back. Not pitching a ton. He's not a starter. He's a reliever right now for this squad. You got Dwight Tupman kind of blocking him. He's 11-2. Castillo's 7-7, pitching decently. You might argue that maybe Leo Estrella could give up his rotation spot for Martin Tate, but I think when you're a team like San Diego, you're really shooting for it, you're really gunning for it. You need to get another big time player, and I think Franny Hyacinth's going to do that for him. So Martin Tate going to be one guy that gets shipped away. Plus, they're going to acquire this guy, Milt Bellamy, 22 years old, 72C, and man, can this guy hit. Got a good arm, decent fielder. He can work on those things, but man, can he hit. 86 contact against lefties, 70 against righties. Got some decent power numbers. I say decent because guys with those attribute grades right there, 39, 44, you can get a home run out of them every now and then. So, I mean, it's shown here at the AAA level with 4 home runs. But, yeah, so they get another third baseman, young guy, kind of a project player with a C potential. But I think it fits Pittsburgh nicely. They need some more depth there, as you can see. They've really only got a Omar Ruiz, 78B, getting a little up there in age. He's 27, kind of entering his prime, I should say. But you got a lot of young guys right there, 19 years old, not a lot of high potentials. Irving Pepper, about the only guy with a good potential with an A. But that's about it. All right, next trade up on the board. We've got Jarrett Tobin, a guy that signed a 4-year contract. 4-year contract. He was let go. An exclusive free agents. He came back. He decided to come back. But he's 33 years old, and he is seeing some regression. Just a little bit there on the home runs per 9. He's down to an 81. But 33-year-old pitcher, Vancouver still continues to play poorly. I think it's about time that they let him go. Plus, Alejandro Encarnacion. He's going to get packaged in this deal as well. He's 30 years old, 77C. He's got some older pitchers here for Vancouver. They're trying to make way for some of their young guys here, like Chris Melendez. He's a 70B. He might get the call up here as well. You got Donnie Turley, who's could be pitching a little bit better as far as the walks go. He's got 40 walks to 89 strikeouts. Maybe Rich Espinoza comes up. But they need a little... It looks like Vancouver needs a little bit more upside with their pitching staff. They need to make room for these younger guys to get them more playing time. So Jarrett Tobin, Alejandro Encarnacion, where are they going to? Well, they're going over to Columbus. And what are they acquiring back? Well, they are going to give up on Darren Woods. So this is a little bit of a risk for Vancouver. Because if he's a 76A for Columbus and he's got all the potential in the world to become a really good pitcher, but he's not quite putting it together, 99 Ks, 49 walks, 1-8, he's one of these guys that might need a change of scenery. And scenery, I'm talking about Canada, right? He's from Canada. He could go back home. He could start pitching a little bit better. I think it's a decent move for the Mighty Beavers to go get this guy. And they're also going to go out and get a third baseman here, Joe Cotter. He's a 69A. Not going to play a lot of defense, but he is going to be a bat for them in the future. Could be a guy to watch out for here. Already 78 power, 68 power against lefties. Decent vision right now, 69. Clutch factor at a 71. So, yeah, I mean, he's putting up some good numbers there at the AA level. Definitely for Vancouver, he's a 69. Let's see where he would go. 69. Yeah, so he would immediately slot in at the AAA level above Luis Villarreal. And James Shackelford kind of showing us right now kind of what he is. 108 at-bats, not a very good average. Decent player, but, could be a little bit better. Hit 226 last year, 21 home runs. So the time is, the clock is ticking on Shackelford, it seems like. I think it's a decent trade. Change of scenery type of move. Again, kind of a tit-for-tat trade. Columbus is in the playoff push, so they need a guy like Tobin. They need a guy like Encarnacion. If you look here at the statistics for team rankings, the earned runs, they never give you the logos here because they're all custom logos. But John Choi, Greg Graves, Elior, they're 30th in earned runs. They're last. They need help in the pitching numbers there, in the pitching stats. They need a lot of help. What about, let's see, ERA? Richmond's first, Shevchuk, Norman, Macbeth, Kansas City second, DeVarco, Rico, McDreamy. But look who's 30th. Columbus, Choi, Graves, Lederman. They need the pitching help, big time. So getting rid of Darren Woods, getting in Jarrett Tobin, and Encarnacion, I think might be a good move for him. All right, kind of funny with this trade because both these two teams are trading with each other, Phoenix and Chicago. But what's this trade? What's this trade all about? Well, Phoenix is going to get rid of starting pitcher Carson Vanderhouse. He's 28 years old. Seems like a guy that he could get called up and help them right now. That'd be potential. Decent ERA at 3.82, 1.23 whip. A lot of strikeouts compared to walks. Good control type of pitcher. But Phoenix is going to give up on this guy. Next, they're going to give up this guy, Lou Haywood, a 75C potential player. Getting slight progression across the way. He actually pitched in the GGBL last year, had 12 games, 27 Ks, 17 walks. Not a huge sample size there. Vanderhouse has never pitched at the GGBL level. But they're going to give up on these two guys for sure. And they're also going to give up on Clint Hinkle. He's currently at the GGBL level, 14 bombs. So he's pulling his weight here, but he's 30 years old at 73C. So at this stage, Clint Hinkle is just kind of a guy that's being thrown in to the equation to try to sweeten the deal a little bit. Chicago is giving up Cash Salazar, a first baseman / third baseman. So you look at his age, he's 30, 73A. So kind of like the Clint Hinkle thing. But the reason why they're giving up on Cash Salazar is he's 30 years old. Right now he's being blocked by Milt East at the major league level, the GGBL level, I should say. He's being blocked by Trey Mashburn. And even at third base, I mean, he can't play third because he throws lefty. Actually, like in game. He's more of a DH type of guy. He's first base, third base eligibility. So he's either a DH or he's a first baseman. Can't play third. But he's really not getting a ton of playing time as it is. Phoenix is in a push for the postseason. So I'll show you guys what their lineup looks like here in a second. But Chicago's going to give up on him. Plus, they're giving up on this guy too. Diego Jimenez. He's actually a little bit better than Chiotelis right now. But Chiotelis is 6 years younger and has a higher grade. For Chicago, he's 27 years old. You've also got Absol Jericho, not going to give up his spot here. You've got Angelo Ruth, not going to give up his spot either. So you look at Diego Jimenez, he's really just kind of going to be a bench guy for Chicago. He's never really going to play. He's never going to get a ton of action because you got a young outfield, a young core of outfielders here for Chicago. So again, where does that fit for Phoenix? Well, we take a look at their outfielders. They got a guy here, Guadalupe Ortega, 2876C. Immediately, Jimenez is better. You got Darren Avalos, 80B. Probably not going to overtake him. Donald Spasato, probably not going to overtake. You could argue that he could take over his spot too. He's got 223 at bats. Definitely could take over his job. And then you got Michael Ruth, who is not going to get his job taken away in right field. So immediately for Phoenix, Diego Jimenez is going to be a guy that plays for them, that starts for them, probably out in left field. Likewise, for Cash Salazar, he's not going to play third, but he's not going to play first base either. You got Chuck Storm here, who's actually a catcher, by the way. You got McCallum here, who's the starter with Kevin Stoitz. These guys can split DH duties and whatnot. But really for Cash, he's just another bat, another big bat for them. Because again, he's not going to play third, but he's just a guy that's you can throw in there and have him be a good bench bat for you, a pinch hitter type thing, or giving McCallum or Stoitz a day off at first. So you look at his numbers there, his hitting at 72 power, 61 power, 59 vision. I think he's pretty good. And really for Chicago, they're just shipping off guys that need to play a little bit more. They're not satisfied with their playing time. And in return, they're getting better pitchers. Because right now the drop-off is pretty insane. You go from 77, 76 all the way down to 73, and now we're into the mid-60s. Like, they need pitchers. They need pitchers badly. And to go ahead and acquire guys like Carson Vanderhouse, Lou Haywood, and just getting that little chip-in piece, Hinkle. You know, they're giving up an outfielder here. They could add another one. Hinkle's got some experience. Can help the young guys out a little bit. All right, guys, this is perhaps the biggest trade of the entire trade day for Season 2. Not going to reveal who the star player is that wants out, but he has stated he's frustrated and he wants to leave his organization. So he has shortlisted a couple teams. Michigan is one of those teams, and I think Michigan actually fits the bill for what they need. So let me talk about what Michigan has given up. Let's then reveal the big star player. So Michigan, they're going to give up this guy here, Pablo Quintero. He was just drafted a season ago. He's 18. He's 9-4 down in Double-A. Got a really good ERA, good whip. Not a ton of strikeouts, though. In 113 innings, doesn't look like he's a strikeout type of guy. Actually, he's not. He's got a 29 K per nine, but his ERA is good. He's more of that control, pitch to contact type of dude. 67B, he is going to progress pretty nicely. So this would be a good add for the team that's getting Pablo Quintero. Next guy, Parveen Mira, is going bye-bye. Whoa, that's a big one. But this team that he's getting traded to needs a catcher pretty badly. And honestly, like Parveen, he's more of a DH at this stage in his career. He's young. He's 20. He can play first base as well. But look at the fielding numbers. Look at the speed. Like he is a catcher, but he's not a defensive catcher by any means. So that means that there's going to be more playing time opportunities for Porter Pease, Lolo Wimpton, or even Robert Fitzgerald. Some of these guys can actually come on up here, these three dudes, to duke it out for some playing time for the Mallards' catcher position. Plus, they're going to acquire Woodrow Sievers. What a name. 2067A potential player. Well-rounded. 11 bombs at the Double-A level. Can steal a bag or two. He has played only one season, so he was just drafted, apparently. He's a top 50 prospect. So those three guys. 4. Who is it? Who is it? Luigi Mazza. Michigan is trying to acquire Luigi Mazza. Now, the thing with Luigi, he's on pace to break his numbers from last season. Not in the RBI totals. Those are just not coming with enough frequency as last year. But the home runs, he looks like he's going to get there. But for the swing, you look at their left field spots, they need some depth. They got Russell France, 26, 77B. He's not a guy that's going to give up his job to Sievers. You look at their outfield, their center field spots here too. They need a guy like Sievers. You look at the right field spots, they need a guy like Sievers. So their outfield is pretty weak as far as depth is concerned. Their catcher spot, they've got Bourbon, who's 20, 77C. They just don't have a lot of potential happening here. They don't have a guy that they can really like lean on. You know, they need more depth there too. They're probably the weakest organization in the entire league. Like even just from a depth perspective, like look at what they have going on right here. They got a ton of middle infielders, but like, look at third base, look at shortstop. Like they just need more talent. They just need a lot more talent. So getting Parveen Mira here, I think is going to help their offense. Number one, I think you can shift Bourbon out to first or third. Actually, not first because you got Clayton Hall, which we're actually going to talk about here in a second. But yeah, Bourbon's going to still be a player here. I think that's going to help him out. Plus, you got the starting pitcher that they're acquiring is Pablo Quintero. If you guys remember, he was a 67B. So they do have some really young pitchers that they're kind of leaning on. But it's really kind of just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks, right? So I think that trade is a good one. You are pretty much limited to only 3 players for a team to ship people off. But, you know, with Michigan, because they are in a playoff race, I didn't feel like Patrick Hawkins was a guy that they could give up. He's their ace. You got Donald in here. He's 79. He's not even performing very well. So that one just didn't make a lot of sense to me either. Their relievers, just not enough talent there. You didn't want to give up a closer because that's kind of pointless. So I just felt like these were good players to move on from for Michigan. I thought about throwing in a guy like Glass, but you know, he's up there in age a little bit. He's entering his prime in the next couple seasons. But 70, he probably will get to an 80 by the time that's done. Shortstops, you got Galvin, who was just traded last year over to Michigan. You got Russell Yan, who doesn't progress fast enough. So there's just some areas where I was thinking, you know, Michigan has enough talent to give up for Luigi Mazza, but I don't want to like wreck their entire, you know, organization depth wise. You know, I think with the guys that we're trying to give up for Luigi Mazza are good. I think this is a good one. Quintero, 67B, young. Mira, 80, young. And Severs, 67A, young. I feel like that's a good haul for New Orleans for a guy like Luigi Mazza. He's 24 years old at 99. Sticking with the swing here, Clayton Hall says that he wants out. He's been very, very frustrated with how things are going, and if Luigi wants out, then so does Clayton Hall. He doesn't want to be the lone star on the team, which is pretty crazy when you got two guys like this that can hit. The team just stinks. But Clayton Hall has stated and been quoted, he's wasting away his career in a swing uniform. So he wants out. And the one team that I think makes the most sense here is Seattle. Now, Clayton Hall probably not going to play first base above KAJ. Probably not going to happen. He's probably going to be most likely a designated hitter. Now, when I look at the lineup here for Seattle, this is why this makes sense. They've got a guy, Waylon Mathis here, is their DH against righties. And against lefties, they've got Calzado. I would look at both of these guys and say that Clayton Hall has better numbers than that. I mean, you can just see that, right? He can hit, contact, in the upper 90s, power, upper 60s, low 70s. Not a very good defensive first baseman, but he's already sporting the green attire here with the glove and the wristband. So I think that he's perfect for Seattle. He would be a really great player for them. But this is the only player that Seattle's going to acquire is Clayton Hall. But they got to give up something, right? They got to give up something. They're going to give up some pitching. This is what New Orleans needs a lot of. This is why that they're bad. If they couldn't get it done with Clayton Hall, Luigi Mazza, Russell France, other guys on that team that can hit, if they can't get it done with those guys, they need pitching. They need pitching bad. So Carlos Cairo, 76A. He's 22 years old. That's a big ask to give up for Seattle. But he's sporting that 4.6 ERA. He's not really quite getting it done. He's 2-5. I think he's a bullpen guy at this point anyway. 78 in a third inning. So he could come in and he could start for New Orleans. So that's one starting pitcher that they're going to acquire. They're also going to go out and get this guy, Thomas Daly. Good strikeouts to walks. Good win-loss record down in Double-A. So he might be a guy that can slide in down in the minor leagues, kind of grind it out there, see if he can be a player for New Orleans in the future. But I like this guy. 80 walks per nine. I think he's pretty good. 288, 124. Young. I think he's going to work out. Then, because they gave up on Luigi Mazza, they need a shortstop. Big time. They're going to go out and get Coop Waller. Not a really great defensive shortstop. He can steal. He's got a little bit of offensive prowess there. He's 25, so he's going to start getting into his prime here in the future. He's hitting 337 right now, 231 in more games. He's definitely on pace to play a lot more for Seattle, but going over to New Orleans, he's definitely going to play a lot more. So those are the three guys that New Orleans is going to acquire. Coop Waller will be the starter here for New Orleans. And then you look at the starting pitching again. Carlos Cairo is going to slide in here nicely. Plus, then you got Thomas Daly. He's going to slide in probably into that Double-A level. Keep him down there. Double A looks like they need a lot of help here. Here's Geraldo Cairo, too. He needs to be up to the Double A level here. Call somebody else down. Probably this guy. He's pitching pretty good, but 66D. That's another dude here. How's this guy? That's crazy. Is there anybody that can call down? This dude. Here. Perfect. You're going to Class A. See ya. So what do you guys think of that deal? All right, and last trade here for New Orleans. Bruce Don, 86 overall, 26 years old, B potential. ERA is respectable. It's not acceptable for an ace, but it's respectable, given the fact like their bullpen doesn't have a lot of guys that, you leave men on base. These dudes come on, and those earned runs are getting tacked onto you, right? So this one's tough. This one's a tough give up for New Orleans. So I'm actually interested in seeing what you guys are going to vote here for this one. But they do need a first baseman in return, because now Forrest Head is going to be the guy that starts now that they're losing Clayton Hall at first base, if that trade goes through. But they need to find a way to like ship off another one of their players that wants out. Basically, the swing that they're hitting the reset button. They don't care how old their guys are. They're just hitting the reset button on their organization. So Bruce Don is a guy that they're going to want to give up. So where's he going? We have Carolina on deck for this trade. So you look at Nettles, Chavez, Olivo, Fernandez, Quiroz. There's quite a bit of drop-off there for the Blue Sox. So getting a guy like Bruce Don to come in to be in that Blue Sox pinstripe, I think he's going to turn his career around. He has not had a very good career in his first 2 seasons of this league. If we go back and look at his numbers here, 402, 404, good strikeouts to walks. He went 11 and 14, so he's a good pitcher. He just needs another opportunity. He needs a change of scenery by the looks of it. Plus, again, you got that gaping hole at first base right now for New Orleans. So I think that this trade is going to make sense for them. So again, what are they going to acquire here? What is New Orleans going to get for this? Well, they are going to go after Mackenzie Rayburn. 117 Ks to 47 walks, 2174B. So they get another pitcher, which is nice for New Orleans. And then for first baseman, they're going to go out and get this guy, David Valentine. 9 bombs, 42 ribbies, 17 steals. You're getting that type of stolen base production from a first baseman. That's pretty big time. 1969A. So immediately, David Valentine is a guy that's probably going to step in and start for them. You got Forrest Head, who's 2070C. Like, let's see how this dude does. David Valentine. So in totality, the New Orleans Swing are going to acquire Pablo Quintero from Michigan, starting pitcher. He's a 67A, I believe. So that's one pitcher. They're going to get Thomas Daly and Carlos Cairo from Seattle. That's going to even more so give them some more pitching depth. And then going out to Carolina, getting that Mackenzie Rayburn and that first baseman, David Valentine. So big haul for New Orleans. They're getting rid of their big pieces here. So no more Bruce Don, no more Clayton Hall, and no more Luigi Mazza. So they're getting rid of their 3 big guns to reacquire a bunch of pitching, and maybe they can use those pitchers to down the road to some deadline deals to start acquiring more outfielders, more positional players that might help them down the road. So I think they're good trades. Of course, I came up with them, but you guys let me know what you think. All right, our last trade on the board here for this season will be Andres Huerta. He's 9-9, 31, 90A. So he's still got a couple more seasons that he's going to be able to hold on to that 90 overall. But again, he's just been kind of a 500 level pitcher here. Not gonna win a ton of games for you, but he will get you some strikeouts. He'll keep runners off base. He'll get that under control. He's a good pitcher. But New York right now, they look to be out of it. They're 14.5 games out, and they're 8.5 games out of the wild card. So they're pretty much done. At 31 years old, you might be able to ship this guy off. So where's he going? Looks like the best fit for him right now would be St. Louis. They got a young pitching staff, very young pitching staff. They need a guy like that. They need a dude that's going to be a veteran pitcher that can come in and help extend this pitching staff out just a little bit more. Cody Finney's really holding it down. He's 25. He's in his prime. But you got Huerta that can come in here as a 90, 31 years old, kind of relieve the youngsters here. Riddle, Rivera, Finney. Those guys can kind of take a break from all the pressure. Because you got to think Finney's got to go up against the ace or the number 2, depending on what the schedule, how that all works out. So more times than not, Finney's got to go up against the other team's ace. So to shift him down to the number 2, or possibly Huerta as the number 2, I think is only going to help St. Louis right now. And you look at where St. Louis is at. They're 10 games out of the Central, but they're 5.5 out of the wild card. So this is a kind of a bigger risk for them making a trade like this. But they are going to send off Cyrus Richardson, 105 and 29 strikeouts to walks. I love to look at strikeouts to walks because it just kind of shows you what that guy's all about. Can he strike people out? Can he keep it under control? Can he keep people off bases? The free passes. Hits are one thing, but don't compound it. Don't double it with a bunch of errors, right? Mental errors, physical errors. And it looks like Cyrus Richardson can do that. 1971 and B. So he's good. He's a pretty good pitcher. He's a left-hander. New York's going to go out and acquire that guy. Plus, they also are going to get a shortstop, which will be Christian Treyer. He's kind of old at 27, 71B, kind of a career minor leaguer at this point. But he's a decent player. Kind of gives him a little bit more depth in the middle infield spots. And outfielder Emilio Campos. He's 22, 69A. So this is a big ask for St. Louis. They're kind of going all in at this point. But, I look at Campos here. He's trailing Gus Dubrow. He's trailing Lopez, which I think he would overtake him in a couple seasons with that A potential. You look at center field. You look at right field. I think that there is a path for Campos to end up becoming a starter for St. Louis. So they don't want to give up on him, but to go out and acquire a guy like Huerta that's going to help them make a playoff push, this is the type of trade that a lot of these teams end up making, sending off some of their top prospects for getting a really good all-star type of player, a veteran coming from the other team. So again, when we look over here at New York, kind of why they need a shortstop, you look at guys like McNeil and Torres, and there's just not a lot of depth there at their shortstop spots. Left fielders, not a lot of high potentials, not a lot of high overalls. So to get Campos, I think that's probably the big get for them outside of the pitcher, but I think Campos is the big one there. That's going to set this team into motion in the future over the top. I think that they can get there. You look at Bendito, he's about really the only guy on this team as far as outfielders go that they can look forward to, honestly. Because, again, look at the ages, right? Look at those ages, look at those potentials, look at those overalls. I think getting a guy like Campos is really going to help the Pizzazz future out in those positions. So, guys, that's it for the trades. Again, when we look at some teams here, Boston was not involved in a trade. Swamp Monsters weren't involved in a trade. Reapers pretty much set. They're 68 and 39. Just really wasn't much to give up. You don't really need anything. you always need something more, but I just didn't really find anything for them to make a move. The Jacks, they're staying put. Just really didn't see anything that they could give up to get in exchange for like another prospect or something. So I didn't really think that there was any moves for them to be made. Wisconsin, kind of the same deal. So I try my best to find like teams that through what their roster looks like San Antonio or Las Vegas, were there guys that they could give up on. I just didn't see it. I think that it's important for some teams to hold on to what they have. Don't just always go into every trade season and just feel like you're just going to make a flurry of moves, because then that's when those moves don't work out, then you mortgage your future away. So I think it's important that some teams stand pat and stay put. Just feel like some of those teams felt like they needed to stay put. Some teams like Colorado and New Orleans and, again, Philadelphia, they needed to do something to like expedite the rebuild, So, guys, that's it for the video. I said it was going to be quick. Definitely was not. but please review the trades in the Google form and vote yes or no if you like the trade or if you don't. Remember, 60% and above, yes, the trade will pass. 59.9%, yes, the trade will not pass. It has to be a 60% majority for the trade to pass. So, guys, in the next video, I will let you guys know how all the trade voting panned out, and I'll go ahead and process those trades. And before you know it, we're going to get into August simulation, and then we're going to have September gameplay. So a lot of these games, we'll kind of reset the deck here a little bit, see what teams are still live for playoff contention, what the divisions look like as far as standings go, and we'll go from there. We'll have a little September call-up video too as well. So guys, that's it. Leave a like if you like this thing. I'll see you in the next one. As always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your trade voting as well, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.